is Councillor Mercy Ume. And I will be chairing this afternoon's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on Council's YouTube channel. If I lose connection, Councillor Borakwan will take over for me. I would like to remind all participants a few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. Please note that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add any additional information other than their allocated time to speak, they must use the raise hand function so that they are not missed. I also ask that members keep their questions and comments brief to the point. I now move to item 1 on agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence. No apologies for absence have been received. Item 2, declaration of interest. Do members have any declaration of interest on any of the 3 applications?
No, Chair.
No, thank you.
No.
Thank you, councillors. Item 3, Riverside Stand Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. I would like to ask everyone participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us, I use your first name, the solicitor, which is Craig.
Yes, hello, Chair. I'm the solicitor for Fulham Football Club this afternoon.
Thank you. Amy Mackenzie.
Not with us, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Glenn.
Hello, I'm Glenn Sutton. I am Fulham Peer Director and charged with delivering the development there.
Thank you. Lorna.
Hi, I'm Lorna McKenna, Licensing Compliance Officer.
Greta.
Hi, I'm Gerta Kodela. I'm the solicitor representing the council.
Thank you. Objecting, we have Jen, resident. Is Jen here?
She's on the call, Chair.
Is on.
Yes.
Okay. We have another resident, which is Isabel. Is she here?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
And I'm also representing the Fulham Society.
Thank you. Procedure. In addition to the main agenda, a supplementary agenda A containing additional information from an objector and applicant was published on 24th of April, 2024. Before we consider the application today, please, may I quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow. This hearing will consider 4 applications for various aspects of Riverside Stand Fulham Football Club as follows. 1, application requested for basement Riverside Stand. 2, application requested for ground floor in Riverside Stand. 3, application requested for first floor in Riverside Stand. 4, application requested for second floor in Riverside Stand. We'll be hearing from the following for each application. The licensing officer will introduce the application, the objectors, and finally, the applicant. Usually, each party will address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes. Following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions of any party or other person present at the hearing, except committee members. No party has the right to ask questions to any other party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their cases or representation. This procedure will be repeated 4 times for each of the application. At the end of the 4th item, application requested for second floor in Riverside Stand, the committee will retire to deliberate on 4 applications. Upon its return, I will announce 4 separate committees' decisions. The first application request for basement river stand. Presenting officer, can I ask the presenting officer, Nona, to introduce the application?
Thank you, Chair. On the 25th of January 2024, Craig Bayliss from Keystone Law submitted an application on behalf of Fulham Football Club, the applicant, for a new premises licence to be granted in respect of the basement in the Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The premises is located in the basement area of the Riverside Stand and is proposed to operate as a conference and as an event space. The following licensable activities have been applied for: the performance of plays, the exhibitions of films, indoor sporting events, boxing or wrestling entertainment, performance or dance, indoors only, from Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. The sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. And the proposed opening hours of the premises are Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11:30 p.m. On the 20th of February, following correspondence with the police licensing team, the applicant has agreed to add a further 6 conditions to the licence if it's minded to be granted this evening. On the 27th of February, the applicant's agent informed the licensing team that the applicant had instructed to reduce the hours applied for the sale of alcohol. So the new licensable times sought for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises are Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 11 representations objecting to the licence applications from local residents. And I can confirm also, in addition to the main agenda, that there was further supplementary agenda item A containing additional information from objector on the applicant, which was published on the 23rd of April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Lorna, I think Isabel said that she's supporting herself as well as the residents. Can we check on that? Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case. I'm the chairman of the Fulham Society, and the Fulham Society also put in objections.
Just give me one moment just to clarify.
Yeah.
The original representation didn't mention anything about representing the Fulham Society, so she may be in that capacity, but that was not what was included in the representation.
Can I seek advice from our solicitor?
We can only rely on what representation have been submitted, and if it was submitted on her capacity as a local resident, the committee needs to take this into account and not put weight on the fact that she is also the chair of Fulham Society, because the representation was not made from Fulham Society. Lorna has confirmed.
Okay, I hope that is clear, Isabel, please. So we are going to take it as your own representation, not the society, not the Fulham Club or Society. So in that case, can I please ask the objectors to address the committee concern relating the application? Can I ask Jen? And you have 5 minutes, Jen, to tell to address your concern. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was not down to speak. I was just to attend this.
Okay. Okay. Isabel, maybe you have 5 minutes to speak because Jen said she wasn't meant to speak, so she meant only to listen. So you have 5 minutes to speak.
Isabel, you are on mute.
Thank you. I think it's clear from the papers, but this perhaps could be confirmed, that the consumption of alcohol will be limited to within the stadium. That is a very crucial point. And I think it says that in the papers, but I didn't hear that in the summary. So if you could please confirm that, then most of the objections would be withdrawn, because I do feel that the taking of alcohol off the premises is the thing that's the major concern with all of these applications. The other thing, as mentioned earlier today, was about the operating hours. This is a highly residential area, a lot of children playing in the park and walking along the riverside. So we would like the end of the day to be at ideally 2200, but certainly 2300 at the latest. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Sabo. Then can I ask the applicant, Mr. Bellis, to speak? I have 5 minutes because we only had one person that spoke, so you are allowed 5 minutes to speak.
Yeah, thank you. The basement space is primarily dedicated as a conference and event space. It's got a potential capacity of between 50 and 200, depending on what the events are. But the event...
You're on mute, Craig.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I thought I'd click the button. I'll start again. It's primarily a conference and event space in the basement. It's called the Orange Box. There's a bar down there that can be used on match days. But the sort of events we're talking about really are cabaret, dinner. There's a large open area, so it could be used for fashion events, art exhibitions, community events. It's a very diverse and amenable space for anything, really. Can be hired for sporting events, indoor sporting activity, but primarily hospitality, conference and banqueting. I suspect Dominic's going to want to ask about capacity. Could be anything between 50 and 200, depending on the type of event. I mean, if you've got a sit-down dinner or a theatre-style presentation with a TED talk, could be 50 or 70 people. A stand-up snooker match, maybe up to 150, 200 people, but no more than that. It's a relatively small space in the basement.
Is that 5 minutes?
That's it, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, can I ask each committee member to ask questions of any party about the application and issues that has been raised on the hearing in this relation to 4 licensing objectives: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, the protection of children from harm. Please, can I ask committee members to ask questions?
If I may, Chair.
Please.
Thank you for stealing my thunder there. The reason I was going to ask about capacity was you've applied for license for boxing and indoor sporting activities, but the license isn't required for those when there's a capacity of less than 1,000. So that was really why I was going to ask about capacity. So my question instead is why you've applied for those licenses.
It could be, you'll remember, Dominic, from this morning's presentation, you asked about the use of the actual pitch itself. And it may well be, I'm trying to cover all the bases, basically. So right. If there were to be, for example, a boxing match or a wrestling match, and I'm told, I haven't met him, but I'm told the chairman is quite keen on boxing and wrestling. at Fulham. So if there is that possibility, then this space may be used as an ancillary space for a boxing match or a wrestling match, which might be held on the pitch. I understand completely what you're saying if it was used in its own right, but it may be an ancillary space for something which is happening on the pitch.
But you've not asked for that for the other spaces?
No.
So, okay.
No.
Fine.
It would pure. So, for example, the sort of thing I'm thinking about is you might have a big name boxing match on the pitch, and then a couple of sideshows in the basement area, which would be sort of I don't know, whetting people's appetite, if you like. And so, but all part of the same audience, just located in different parts of the stadium.
Okay, so it's a technicality, really.
I understand, and as I say, I was just trying to cover all the bases. I probably didn't need to go for it, but
that's fine. To be honest, the way I'd consider a boxing venue with a capacity of 1,000 or 2,000 would probably be different than one of 50 to 200. So, so that has answered that question, and you've answered the question that resulted. That's great. I don't actually have any further questions just now, Chair. So I'll make
Okay. Before you speak, our solicitor has something to ask.
I just want to clarify what Craig said about moving maybe a boxing match in the pitch. Is the pitch part of the red line?
No. There is no application at the moment for the pitch.
No, but I think Councillor Stanton's question was, you are asking for licensable activity for regulated entertainment, let's say, for maximum capacity. If the maximum capacity is £500, then you can have a license. But you are saying the basement can only accommodate 50 to 200 people?
I would think no more than 200, yeah.
So which in that case, you don't really need a license.
Well, as I say, I made the application out of an abundance of caution in terms of boxing and wrestling, because if there were to be a boxing match on the pitch, and this were to be considered part of it as an ancillary, then it might need to be licensed as part of the overall pitch. But equally, I'll take your point entirely. I might just be being overcautious.
No, I just wanted to clarify the red line, whether the pitch form part of the basement.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I've got some questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, please.
Craig, the description of what the space would be for is quite broad. So for conference and banqueting, could it be something like a wedding reception, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely in mind, the sort of thing for private hire, fashion shows, art exhibitions, anything like that. Yeah. It's really a multi-use space.
Yeah. So also something like a small, like a conference or convention centre as well, that could be an all-day event. Okay.
Yeah.
How if for that kind of an event, there could be a bit more disruption than some of the other kind of events we've discussed this morning, for example. So people coming in and out and so on. Will there be things like smoking spaces and things?
Yeah, dedicated smoking spaces outside on the terrace on the ground floor. And one of the police conditions is a requirement for us to risk assess the need for SIA, depending on what the event is. I mean, you know, if it's an art exhibition, clearly we don't need anybody. If it's going to be a wedding reception with maybe a disco afterwards, then maybe we might want some security. I don't know. Okay.
And then with regards to the kind of alcohol and so on that's going to be on sale, that's all going to be from the bar area itself.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if there is a sit-down dinner, then it'll be serviced to tables.
Yeah.
But there is a bar servery provided in the space.
Okay. Thank you. No more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can I ask? I think. Oh, okay. Councillor Stanton put his hand up. Okay.
Sorry, Chair, to jump in. It's just it sort of followed on from what Councillor Kwan was just asking. I do have a question regarding the off sales of alcohol, and I think this probably going to ask this again when we come to the ground floor as well. So you may want to cover that off now or later. My understanding is that alcohol sales are for consumption within the venue, but but off sales have been requested. Now, is that purely to enable people to transition with alcohol from one licensable area to another, or is the intention that alcohol be taken off site?
For the basement area, it's purely for within the stadium. The ground floor is a different kettle of fish, because we'll be talking there about things like farmers markets, people wanting to walk outside onto the riverside area, that type of thing. But within the basement, it's primarily for transport within the stadium.
Thank you. Thank you. That was it, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I think that's what I was going to ask, because the resident was asking about if we can confirm that the sale of alcohol is within the premises, not outside. So you have just asked that question already. Okay. Yeah. The other thing that you said, does can the applicant agree? Does a condition you mentioned? Okay, you have already confirmed it as well. That's my second question, so I'm fine. I don't have any questions. My questions has almost been covered. Do anybody have any questions? Any comment from? Okay. In that case, I'm going to go to sum up. Please, can the parties briefly sum up? Can I have licensing officer to sum up? 3 minutes.
Nothing further to add, Chair.
Nothing. Okay. Jane, you are not speaking, so can I ask Isabel to sum up for 3 minutes? The resident.
I'm still not totally clear about this off sales. Can you please confirm this will be a license condition, that the off sales will be limited to consumption within the premises?
Within the stadium.
That's a very important point for local residents. Within the stadium. So it won't be taken outside the stadium.
Correct.
That will be a license condition.
Well, it's a matter for the committee if they want to attach it as a condition, but I'm certainly giving the information.
Okay, that's my big request, that it becomes a license condition, please.
Yeah, thank you.
And
do you have more things to say? No. Okay, can I ask the applicants, Mr. Baylis, to sum up 3 minutes? Please?
Nothing to add, Chair. Thank you.
Nothing to add. Okay. I think we now have to move on to the second application, please. And the second application requested for ground floor in the Riverside stand. Presenting officer, Luna, please, can you present this?
Yes, Chair. On the 25th of January 2024, Craig Baylis from Keystone Law submitted an application on behalf of Fulham Football Club, the applicant, for a new premises licence to be granted in respect of the ground floor in the Riverside stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The premises is located on the ground floor of the Riverside stand, which is within the main concourse area, and will be providing food and drink to anyone attending the stadium, including passers-by from Riverside Walk. The following licensable activities have been sought, which are the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 AM to 11 PM, and the proposed opening hours of the premises are Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 AM to 11:30 PM. The applicant has proposed a number of additional steps within the operating schedule if the application is granted today. And on the 20th of February 2024, following correspondence with the police licensing team, the applicant agreed to add 7 further conditions to the license if it is minded to be granted. Further to this, on the 27th of February 2024, the applicant agents informed the licensing team that the applicant had instructed them to reduce the hours applied for the sale of alcohol. So the new licensable times sought are for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Monday to Sundays between the hours of 10 AM till 11 PM. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 12 representations from local residents objecting to the granting of the license application. And in addition to the main agenda, I can confirm that supplementary agenda A, containing additional information from objectors and applicant, was published on the 23rd of April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go to the objector, which is Isabel, but for that, if your concerns mentioned in the previous application are also relevant to the application, do you have any more additional concerns or any other comments to add? That is to Isabella, please. I take it, Jane, you are not going to be speaking this time, or you want to speak? So, Isabel, please, I have 5 minutes.
Thank you. This is the major concern that, that a lot of people have. The ground floor takeaway, which would not be limited to the premises at all. Now, this would mean that alcohol in large quantities with large numbers of people could be taken on the River Walk to the north and also into Bishop's Park to the south. This raises major questions of public nuisance and also the protection of children, which are key considerations in the licensing application. The public nuisance also includes the issue of litter, which I think your supplementary evidence shows evidence of on a recent event. So once outside the premises, the club is not able to control the behaviour of any of the customers that have come to buy the alcohol or other goods. And this could make life difficult along the Riverside Walk and in Bishop's Park. As you'll be aware, there have been a number of incidents in Bishop's Park recently with knife crime and vandalism. And this will exacerbate the situation in the park. And we think that it's totally inappropriate to take alcohol off the premises. There will also be children walking along the Riverside Path. This is a public amenity to be able to walk along the club. And it's important that people feel they can walk along in safety. And so it's very important that the club is able to control the behaviour of its patrons and customers, and also not to be able to take the alcohol off the premises where they're simply unable to control what's going on. So that's quite a strong objection. This is the biggest objection that we have to all of the licensing applications.
Thank you very much. Now, can I ask Mr. Bailey, the applicant solicitor, to speak? If your concerns mentioned in the previous application are also relevant to the application, can you summarize any additional comments you want to raise for this application?
Thank you,
have
Chair.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
It's a crucial element to the whole development, this ground floor space. It's called the Riverside Market, and it's going to be open every day, not just match days, but every day for people walking past along the riverside. There's going to be a range of shops, cafes and bars. They can all be accessed by the river, from the Riverside Walk during the day and into the early evening. Now, in terms of off sales, we've agreed, of course, the police are the prime authority in terms of crime and disorder, nuisance. And we've agreed a condition with the police that on match days, no off sales will be allowed outside the area effectively of the stadium, although people can go onto the Riverside Walk, but they won't be allowed beyond the gates out of the stadium. As far as other spaces are concerned, so into Bishop's Park or further along Riverside Walk, we currently have a license at the stadium, so we can do this already. In fact, we had a very successful day at Boat Race Day this year when we utilised the existing license for off sales and had no problems at all. The reality is that I can go to Sainsbury's and buy a bottle of wine or 4 cans of beer and go and drink it in Bishop's Park. I can take a can of beer from the local off license and walk along the Riverside Walk with it now. So there's no additional issues people can already do what Isabel's concerned about if they want to buy alcohol from somewhere else. And the important point about the off sales, as I mentioned in terms of the basement, is if we want to organise something like a farmer's market where people want to go and buy alcohol to take away, any condition preventing people taking alcohol out of the stadium would effectively prevent something like that. So we don't perceive that the taking away of alcohol is going to be a big part of this operation. And we don't see it causing any problems, because it doesn't cause any problems at the moment, as it didn't on boat race day this year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Now, can I ask the committee to ask questions, please? Do the committee have any further questions?
I have one or two, Chair. I come back to the plans. I've been looking all day at the ground floor plan. I'm not entirely sure. This is on page, the one I'm looking at is on page 72 of the agenda. I'm hoping that I'm looking at the right one. And I'm looking at the red line area. There is below the red line area a curved line, if we can put it like that. I wasn't quite sure, and that's in all of the plans. I'm assuming that is the extent of the stadium.
That's the decking area, Dominic. Yes, there's an external decking area where we would expect people to be able to go out and enjoy coffee or a glass of wine if they wanted to as well. Yeah. And
so south of that, kind of effectively where these circled letters are, is where the Riverside Path is.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. How deep is the Riverside Path at that point? Roughly,
I would say probably about 3 meters, Glenn.
At its deepest point, it's more than 3 meters. I mean, perhaps something like 5 or 6 at the deepest point. Yeah, it's pretty. That expanse there is pretty deep between the glass
beyond the decking.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've obviously walked down the Riverside Path a number of times. I haven't actually since the development's been on, because I've been walking around. So I just trying to kind of get a mental image of it. And so when on, say, match day, how is there physical barriers between the...
Yeah, match day, it's a closed site. So it's a closed ticketed ring of steel type site. So of course, to access the Riverside Walk, you need to have a match ticket. There's large steel barriers that go up, and we have 2 turnstile blocks, one that faces into Bishop's Park and one that faces into Stevenage Park, which activate for match days. So yeah, just to be clear, there's no public access at all during match day mode. Match day mode might not last the entirety of match day, by the way. Our intention will be to get the Riverside Walk as much as we possibly can for residents and locals to use. We will bring down the security cordon at a point before kick-off, and at that point becomes a sealed site.
All right, so it's actually the Riverside Walk itself is closed. There's no, it's not a barrier between the walk and the stadium. It's the whole section.
Right. We had a really good on-site meeting with police actually, and walked the space, because they wanted to be reassured that we can actually close off the whole area effectively on a match day, which is why we agreed the condition they wanted, so that there would effectively be no off sales on a match day, and we just closed the barriers completely.
Okay, thank you. That's great. That pretty much answers all of my questions actually. I do have a question about litter, which, whilst taking on board what you're saying, yes, you're right. You can go to Sainsbury's, you can go to any number of establishments, but then you have to get there. Whereas if it's available and all you have to do is metaphorically reach out for it, the chances are that it could be a greater problem. So there are in Appendix A some photographs of litter. What there are not necessarily in Appendix A are photographs of litter that emanate from Fulham Football Club. I'm not saying they are, and I'm not saying they're not. What I would say is that the the empty glasses, or do you call them glasses when they're made of plastic? Beer receptacles are you. I don't know if you've got them there, but you can see what they are. I don't know. Do you know? And I guess this is probably to Glenn. If these are examples of glasses that are or are not provided by the club in your concession stands.
Yeah, I can't say if they're specifically as, because on match days, a number of the other local pubs on the walk also use PET and plastic glasses for their outdoor sales. So we're not certain of that, but
they may be.
They could be. And when it comes to the litter issue, I think we consider ourselves, in opening up the Riverside Walk, to be important custodians of that part of the neighbourhood. It's not a transactional venue. People can come and use the Riverside Walk without spending $1 with us. They can access it all day long for free, run, jog, walk along there. They may drop their own litter on there that hasn't emanated from us, that we'll need to deal with and keep clean and tidy. And in terms of that investment and oversight of the immediate area community, we take that very seriously. I think this winter we had to advise a number of our staff not to leave during darker hours via Bishop's Park or Stevenage Park because of the high number of incidents or attempted incidents, assaults and activity in those areas after dark. I mean, we generally find that when you open a venue like this, turn the lights on, turn all the CCTV on, staff it, bring people into the area, put security around the perimeter, whether that's soft or in a harder way, you generally improve the safety of those immediate areas around. They become safer by that nature, not more dangerous. So that, along with litter, is something we would take very, very seriously. We don't want people coming into a location who've travelled across town to come and see Fulham Pier to see litter strewn around the area and the adjacent areas. That's not in our interests either. We need to keep the area clean and tidy.
I think it's important to mention as well, just so that you're aware, as a part of our section 106.
Sorry, carry on. Sorry, I wasn't sure who was speaking. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, Dominic, it's Amy.
Yes, no, I've seen that now.
Our section 106, we are actually funding litter collection as well. It is actually carried out by the council. So that has already been agreed and put through.
Okay,
that's part of the planning agreement.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Just talking of, I say planning, it's not really planning. Can I just confirm the land of the Riverside Walk surrounding, or sort of between the stadium and the river, is that owned by Fulham Football Club?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is our property, but we are required under the planning permissions granted to open it to the public at the agreed times.
Yes, that's right. I have seen the section 106.
Yeah,
it's part of the 106.
Activity bit of the walk. It in effect becomes public space, but we don't get to abdicate responsibility for it when it does. It still remains our responsibility to make sure it's well cared for and safe.
Yeah, because it's our land, that's why we're able to put barriers at each end on match days to stop people walking through.
To be honest, that was why I was wondering. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think for now that's probably all I've got. I'll pass over to other members of the committee. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other questions?
Councillor Stanton actually asked the questions that I was going to ask about the sort of cleaning and so on. I guess the only extra thing I would ask to that is on the match days and times that there's going to be increased football and therefore increased possibilities of litter due to the off-site consumption and sale of alcohol. Will there be sort of extra bin kind of provisions and so on? Because I think there's sometimes not that much you can do about antisocial people that are just going to toss it. But I think with other people, what happens, we notice when there's an influx of people, it's more that there isn't the facilities, people use them when they're there. Is that something that you can address so that there's adequate, I think the bins that you have during normal time might not be sufficient for when you have high footfall.
Amy, can you help us with that? Amy, can you help us with that?
Sorry.
Litter collection, litter picking generally within the stadium?
Yeah, so we've got so we currently have an agreement already where we do actually carry out litter collection up to it's not as far as Fulham Palace Road. I'm just trying to remember the name of the next road along, sorry. And all around the houses. But we have already agreed that obviously in addition to paying the council for litter collection for the surrounding area, that we would carry on, you know, doing those sort of wider areas along with our cleaning partner PSS that we use. So, you know, there's a level of that, you know, even down to you know, obviously we've accounted for our immediate area, you know, chewing gum, dog waste. Obviously, you know, we're expecting that, you know, everyone will be walking through with their dogs as we see on a day-to-day in Bishop's Park. So that's all accounted for as well.
Okay.
Okay, no further questions from me, Chair.
Thank you. Can I ask Gerta to speak to ask
Yeah,
a
just
question?
I was just want to follow up what Amy said, that she mentioned that they're already, so the club has got contributions that you are giving to the council under terms of Section 106. I haven't looked at Section 106. I was not involved, but I can have a look after this meeting to double check. But you also mentioned that there is an agreement for other parts of the stadium for you, that you go and collect the litter around the houses, around the neighborhood. Is the applicant willing to do the same for this part of the stadium? Because obviously it's an extension. There is a lot of customers going through the riverside. Would you be willing to, if the committee will grant the license today, to also add a condition about the litter in your license? So I know that you are already doing for other parts of the stadium, but would you be willing to have something in your license to deal with litter issue?
Well, a condition along the lines of litter picking on the Riverside Walk within the stadium area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no reason why we can't have litter patrols there. I suspect we do already.
That's correct, yeah. And I think it is actually outlined as well as a part of our planning. We had to submit a management document which has gone over to the council.
Thank you, everyone. I think most of my questions has been asked, so I don't have any question. So in that case, I'm going to ask the licensing officer to sum up.
Nothing further to add, Chair.
Okay. Isabel, do you have anything to sum up?
Yes, I do. I still think it's totally inappropriate to have a license that allows customers to take alcohol off the premises. That means off into either Bishop's Park or the Riverside Walk from Stevenage Park onwards. Obviously, within the club is a different question, and you've just confirmed that you'll do the litter picking in there, which is your own premises. But litter will go far and wide. But I'm more concerned about public safety. I think it's completely inappropriate to have alcohol taken into Bishop's Park. There was a licensing application for the Bishop's Park Cafe, which was turned down after huge numbers of public objections. And I think that while Craig is right that you can just buy alcohol in a shop and walk there, that does not happen in practice. People tend to, if they're going to have a drink, they'll buy it very locally and drink it very, very locally, very close to where they buy it. So I don't think that that is the case at the moment. And if it's one or two people who make the journey specifically, that's not really the issue. The issue is significant numbers of people, and there will be significant numbers of sales allowed on the Riverside pathway at the club. So there could be large numbers of people who go out at one end or the other and the park is there not really as an extension of Fulham Football Club. It's there for families to play, children to play, sometimes unsupervised, youngish children. And I think adding alcohol to that mix is totally inappropriate for a public park. So what I'm asking for is the off alcohol sales to be stopped at the end of the premises, either end of the premises. There's plenty of room within the premises on the Riverside Walk for the customers to enjoy the alcohol without needing to take it into the park or into Stevenage Park and up northwards. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I had committee member, Councillor Dominic raise his hands.
Yeah, sorry, it's just a very small follow-up for what Isabel has just said, and that's to licensing. And I know we deal with each application on its own merit, so this is more just for clarification, which was that I understood that the application in Bishop's Park that was referred to that was withdrawn rather than turned down. Is it possible just to clarify that now or some stage later in the meeting? It was the tea room, I believe, is that right? Yeah. And there were planning issues or trust issues with that, which I think overrode the licensing objectives. Thank you. That was it. If licensing could just confirm that to me, I think it was about a year ago from memory.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because my Zoom just froze while he was in the midst of speaking.
It's just for clarification, and it's the application from the tea room in Bishop's Park, and I understood that was withdrawn rather than turned down. That's really just clarification. It's relevant to the representation that was made. Okay.
Yeah, if you just give me a couple of minutes, I'll have a look on the system.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe while we are waiting for Lorna to come back, can we ask the applicant solicitor to sum up?
Thanks, Chair. A few points to make really in relation to this thorny question of off sales. The first point to make is we can do it already. We have a license which permits it already. We do it already, and it doesn't cause a problem. We had a massive use of the existing off sales license on Boat Race Day. Didn't cause any problems at all. Second point is, if off sales were restricted in that way, we wouldn't be able to hold things like farmers markets where people can go along and buy bottles of wine or bottles of beer or bottles of cider to take away and drink at home. And the third point really is a question of logistics and management. Although we can close the barriers on match days to comply with the police condition, the rest of the time the Riverside Walk is going to be open. So if what Isabel's suggesting is correct, we would have to employ staff full time to stand at each end of the Riverside Walk and see what people are taking out with them. Can I see you drink, please? Is it alcohol or is it a soft drink? From a management perspective, it's simply impossible, I'm afraid.
Thank you very much, Greg. Lorna, are you here? Are you back?
I'm still looking. If you just give me one moment, I've just had to find the reference number. I'm just looking at the document.
Yeah, so given that we've got another 2 applications to hear, if you just come back as and when you can, let's not delay proceedings for that. Okay.
In that case, thank you for summing up, Greg. Now, we move to the third application for now. The third application requested for first floor in Riverside stand. Presenting officer Lorna, please, can you present.
So we're on the first floor. I'm getting confused with all the levels now.
I know. Just do the presentation, then you can go back to the full.
Perfect. So I'll present and then I'll go back.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So on the 25th of January 2024, Craig Bayliss from Keystone Law submitted an application on behalf of Fulham Football Club Limited for their new premises licence to be granted in respect of the first floor of the Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The applicant proposes to operate this premises as a formal restaurant with brasserie and dining areas, providing table service throughout with substantial food to be available at all times. The applicant has applied for the following licensable activities: the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11 p.m, and the opening hours of the premises are Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11:30 p.m. The applicant has also proposed a number of additional steps within the operating schedule if the application is minded to be granted. And on the 20th of February 2024, following correspondence with the police licensing team, the applicant agreed to add a further 5 conditions to the licence if it is minded to be granted today. Further to this, on the 27th of February 2024, the applicant's agent informed the licensing team that the applicant had instructed them to reduce the hours applied for the sale of alcohol. The new licensable times are for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 11 representations from local residents objecting to the license being granted. And I can confirm, in addition to the main agenda, a supplementary agenda item A containing additional information from an objector and the applicant was published on the 23rd of April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, can I go to objectors, which is Isabella, as Jane is not speaking. If your concerns mentioned in the previous application are also relevant to the application, do you have any more additional concerns or other comments to be added? That's to Isabella. Isabella? Are you still there?
She's dropped off the call, Chair.
She dropped off. Okay. Oh, okay, Lorna, yes.
Just in answer to your question, the application wasn't rejected, it was withdrawn.
Okay.
Back in, it was submitted back in
also
2020.
Yeah. Well, Isabella is not here to listen to that. In that case, we allow applicants 5 minutes. 5 minutes to, can I ask the applicant's solicitor to speak? And if your concerns mentioned in the previous application are also relevant to the application, can you summarize any additional comments you want to raise on this application? You have 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. First floor area is primarily dining. It's a mixture. It's called the Water's Edge Restaurants. There's a complex of various restaurants. There's a fine dining restaurant. There's a brasserie. There are a number of casual dining areas, but primarily it's all dining. I've offered a condition that in the fine dining area, alcohol will only be ancillary to a table meal, so the usual restaurant condition. Elsewhere in the brasserie, the dining is more casual, so people might just have a drink with a small plate of food, or might just have a drink on its own in mixed company. But this entire space is dedicated to what the hospitality industry calls dining opportunities.
Okay.
That's it, Chair.
That's it. Okay. Committee members, do you have any questions here, please?
Nothing from me, Chair.
Okay.
Just to clarify with the dining opportunities, is it going to be maybe not a condition, but sort of because of the layout of the place, people will be eating as well as drinking, so you wouldn't just get people being able to come up off the street, just sort of coming in to just sort of have a drink as they would in a bar or a pub?
They might do. There's a brasserie area which lends itself to that sort of thing, but it's really a question of what sort of atmosphere and environment people are looking for. We're anticipating that if all they want is a drink, they'll probably stay on the ground floor in the sort of what we call the cafe market area and just have a drink down there. If they want a more, shall we say, sophisticated environment and pay a bit more, because it's all price driven, they'll come up to the brasserie and they might just get a glass of wine or a cocktail there. But the main focus of the whole of the first floor is food led. It's very much food driven, table service throughout.
Is it table service only, or will there be a sort of
no? There'll be a mix.
Bar?
There'll be a mix.
It will be a mix.
So again, there's a casual dining space where you can go up to the bar, order some food. It'll be brought to your table, or you take it away to your table. The fine dining area, as you'd expect, will be white tablecloths and we're hoping to get a name chef in there, but the rest of it will be more casual. So it's offering a different variety of dining experiences depending on what people want. A quick burger and chips, or something more flamboyant, shall we say?
Mm.
And that brings me to my usual question: operations. You said name chef. Are there any sort of brand name restaurants or anything that operators that are coming in, or again, is that undecided as yet?
I don't know if it's commercially sensitive. Glenn, are we talking to anybody I don't know. We may be able to talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I can talk about the operating model. We are self-operating, so we'll be operating both of those restaurant spaces. But we may do those. We intend to do those operations in collaboration with some recognisable names. So as Craig rightly mentioned, we're talking to a local South London-based Michelin star chef who may partner with us in one of those restaurants, and we're talking to a London-based artisan baker who might create an afternoon tea product, one of those areas too. So there might be collaborations, but they'll be self-operated. We'll be in control of those areas.
Okay, thank you. No further questions from me, Chair.
Thank you very much. And what capacity are we looking at for in this restaurant? Do you know?
Capacity, Chair?
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue. Glenn, any ideas what the total capacity is of the restaurant areas?
Well, both restaurants are 120 covers, but actually they've been designed so that we can make them smaller because they're actually too big in reality. On match day, we need that capacity, and 120 covers is very useful when you're doing match day hospitality. But in everyday mode, the right size of a restaurant in that neighbourhood is probably something between 50 and 80 covers. So in terms of what would be opened up on the reservation system each day, probably no more than about 80 covers would be opened up. So yeah, but in theory, the restaurants, if both were open and fully occupied, they could hold 120 people each.
Thank you. And in terms of delivery and bin collection, is as previous?
Same thing, Chair, yes. Same thing, central core deliveries at specific times.
Okay. In that case, since Isabel is not here, can you sum up in 3 minutes?
Nothing further to add, Chair, I don't think.
Okay. I think that will take us to, we move to the final application today.
Was that to me?
Huh? Sorry? Hello? Lona? I'm going to ask you to present the fourth application.
Of the fourth case.
Yes.
We're flying through them today. I've never known it go so quick.
Wow.
So I feel like I sound like a broken record, but here we go again for the final time. On the 25th of January 2024, Craig Bayliss from Keystone Law submitted an application on behalf of Fulham Football Club Limited, the applicant, for a new premises licence to be granted in respect of the premises known as the second floor of the Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club. Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The applicant proposes to operate this premises on the second floor, and it will include entertainment and refreshments areas comprising of the chairman's suite, director's suite, and various other entertainment spaces. The following licensable activities have been applied for: the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. and then the opening hours of the premises are Monday to Sundays between the hours of 8 a.m. till 11:30. The applicant has proposed a number of additional steps within the operating schedule if the application is minded to be granted. And on the 20th of February 2024, following correspondence with the police licensing team, the applicant has agreed to add 6 further conditions to the license if it is minded to be granted. On the 27th of February 2024, the applicant's agent informed the licensing team that the applicant had agreed to reduce the licensable hours applied for the sale of alcohol. The new proposed licensable times are the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Monday to Sunday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 10 representations objecting to the license application being granted from local residents, and I can confirm, in addition to the main agenda, a supplementary agenda A containing additional information from the objector and applicant was published on the 23rd of April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Can anyone summarize the objectors? Since objector Jane Isabel is not here. Jane, do you think you want to summarize? Is Jane still here? Charles?
Yes, Chair, but I don't know if she has speaking rights because she's in attendance rather than speaking, so licensing would need to confirm that.
Oh, okay.
She did submit a valid representation, so she was entitled to speak. She did confirm her attendance. So
okay, because it'd be good for objector to say something, but Isabel is not here, so unless someone wants to summarize on.
Chair, I don't think we need to summarize. We can rely on the written representations. So
Okay.
if Jane doesn't want to speak and she wants to hear, that's absolutely fine.
I'm here now. I was here on the understanding that I wasn't going to speak, but as Isabel doesn't seem to be there, I would just like to re-endorse everything that Isabel has said. I'm extremely alarmed and concerned and worried about the effects of this on local residents and the environment, and for many reasons. I have written in about these various things, so I think that's all I can say.
Okay, members have to look up the written words. Anyway, thank you, Jen, for summarizing. Then can I ask the applicant, can Craig, applicant solicitor, if you have any concerns and more things to mention, I have 5 minutes, please, to sum up, to present.
Yeah, thank you. So we're on level 2 now. Level 2 is going to be called markers. It's primarily an area for hospitality spaces. It's not going to be generally available for access, so private dining areas. There is a director's suite and there's the chairman's suite. So directors and the chairman get their own little spaces to sit down and have their guests. But the rest of the spaces on this floor are providing hospitality space available to hire during the day and the evening. So we're thinking wedding anniversaries, birthday parties, private events, private functions, that type of thing, not generally available as walk-in space. It's primarily available, as I say, as hospitality spaces for private hire. That's it, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Committee members, do committee members have any further questions?
Chair, I've got a question to the licensing officer, Lorna, that she might be able to help me with. This is just in regards to thinking about the overall number of licensing that we're considering today, because I think this is my first time sort of hearing of a sort of a mass application, and one of the concerns that the residents have put in, which is understandable, is the sort of sheer number of licenses that we're granting and so on. I guess I could compare it to something like Westfield, and I know that we've got things like Olympia coming up where you're granting lots of licenses to individual things. Do we have, is there a sort of consideration or guidance on how many licenses that we grant to what's essentially kind of one large structure or kind of organisation, or is what we're doing just listening to each application for each area in isolation? We can do that without considering the total number of licenses we're granting.
Yeah, that's correct. So each application is taken on its own merit. So there's not a specific number of how many can be. And I think obviously, as we've heard with the applications that have been submitted, they're all separate areas with different considerations. So whereas say a premises might apply for one license that would cover the whole, it makes it easier to manage, I guess, from an enforcement point of view as well, from a licensing enforcement, that each area is considered separately as per the licenses that may be granted this evening. Okay,
so there's no sort of, I think legislation would be the wrong term, but sort of there's no sort of guiding principle into that we judge everything overall, but there's like a maximum number, you know, per area or anything for one building or institution.
No, that if there was a cumulative impact policy in place, that would then take into consideration the number of like licensed premises within an area, but that's not in play at the moment, so that's not really a consideration for the committee today.
Okay, thank you. No further questions from me, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from licensing from members? No. Okay, I don't have any questions myself. And in that case, we move on to summing up. Can I ask Lorna, you want a sum up? 3 minutes. Have you got anything to sum up, Lorna? No.
No, nothing further to add, Chair.
No, nothing. And can I ask Jen, because she's here, do you want to sum up, Jen? 3 minutes?
I don't think I have much further to add to this. I am also concerned about the light pollution. It's bad enough as it is. And of course, if we're going to have all these events and things going on, that's going to even add to the, well, destruction of our area and our environment.
Thank you. Can I ask the applicant solicitor to sum up? 3 minutes.
Sorry, I was on mute. Nothing further to add. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now, deliberation. The committee will now retire and take deliberation in a separate room. And each deliberation will take us about 10 minutes for each application. So we are looking at quite some time, 40 minutes or even more than that, I don't know. So you are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear the committee's decision. If you don't want to wait, a summary decision will be published on Council's website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to turn off their video, mute their microphone, and join me in a private meeting for deliberation? Hello, Charles. Sorry, Charles. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to read. Is everybody back?
The Jane, the objector, is on the call, but
Okay.
you've already explained, Chair, that basically, a summary decision will be posted tomorrow morning, so you can proceed with the decision.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Are the committee members back and our solicitor back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And Mr. Bailey's and all back. Okay. A summary decision of license subcommittee. 30th April 2024, basement in Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London's SW6, 6HH, the premises. The committee has considered an application for the new premises license for the performance of play, the exhibition of films, indoor sporting events, boxing or wrestling entertainment, performance of dance, and the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises under the Licensing Act 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives, to 1, grant the application as follows: the performance of play, the performance of plays, the exhibition of films, indoor sporting events, boxing or wrestling entertainment, performance of dance indoors only, Monday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 23 hours. The sale of alcohol on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays, 10 o'clock to 23 hours. 2, the opening hours of the premises are as follows: Mondays to Sundays, 08 hours to 23:30 hours. 3, the license is subject to any mandatory conditions. The license is subject to 4, the license is subject to condition volunteered by the applicant in the operating schedule. 5, the licensing is subject to condition proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant. 6, the license is subject to condition imposed by the committee that off-sale of alcohol shall be limited to consumption within the stadium. These licenses become operational within immediate effect. If problems are experienced, then an application for review of the premises licenses can be made. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons, will be sent to all parties forthwith. If the applicant or any other person has made a relevant representation, is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. Now we go to ground floor. Okay, the ground floor. The ground floor of the Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6, 6HH, the premises. The committee has considered an application for the new premises license for the sale of alcohol, both on and off the premises, under the Licensing Act 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual's conditions, circumstances of the case, and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives, to 1, grant the application as follows: the sale of alcohol on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays, 10 o'clock to 23 hours. 2. Opening hours of the premises are as follows: Mondays to Sundays, 8 o'clock to 23 hours. 3. The licensing is subject to any mandatory conditions. 4. The license is subject to the condition volunteered by the applicant on the applicant in operating schedule. 5. The license is subject to the conditions proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant as amended by the committee. 6. The license is subject to 4 conditions imposed by the committee regarding litter patrol at least 3 times during the opening hours and once immediately following the closing time. A written record of litter is to be kept and signed to be displayed at the premises for customers to dispose their waste in the bin, and that during the match days, a litter patrol is taking place prior to the reopening of the riverside walk. 7. The license is subject to condition imposed by the committee that drinks in glass containers are not permitted to be taken for the consumption in outside area. The licensing becomes operational with immediate effect. If the problem are experienced, then an application for review of the premises licenses can be made. A copy of committee's full decision, including its reason, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If the applicant or any person who has made a relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date notified by the full decision. Now we go to the first floor. This is one floor, basement. First floor. The London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham, a summary decision on the licensing subcommittee, first floor of the Riverside stand. Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The committee has considered an application for the new premises license for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises under the Licensing Act 2003. The application. In summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of this case and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives: 1, to grant the application as follows: the sale of alcohol on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays, 10 a.m. to 23 hours. 2, the opening hours of the premises are follows: Mondays to Sundays, 08 hours to 23:30 hours. 3, the license is subject to any mandatory condition. 4, the license is subject to conditions volunteered by the applicant in the operating schedule. 5, the license is subject to condition proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant. 6, the license is subject to condition imposed by the committee that off-sale of alcohol should be limited to consumption within the stadium. This license become operational within immediate effect. If problems are expected, then an application for a review of the premises license can be made. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If the parties or any person who has made a relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. Okay. The London Borough of Hammersmith and the summary decision for sub-licensing committee, 30th of April 2024. Second floor in Riverside Stand, Fulham Football Club, Stevenage Road, London, SW6 6HH. The committee has considered an application for the new premises license for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises under the Licensing Act 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives, to 1, grant the application as follows: the sale of alcohol on and off premises, Mondays to Sundays, 10 a.m. to 23 hours. 2, the opening hours of the premises are as follows: Mondays to Sundays, 08 hours to 23:30 hours. 3, the license is subject to any mandatory conditions. 4, the license is subject to conditions volunteered by the applicant in operating schedule. 5, the license is subject to condition proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant. 6, the license is subject to condition imposed by the committee that off-license that committee that off-sale of alcohol should be limited to consumption within the stadium. These licenses become operational with immediate effect. If problems are experienced, then the application for a review of premises licenses can be made. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons, will be sent to parties forthwith. If applicants or any person who had made relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full licensing. And that concludes today's application. And thank you for watching, and thank you for attending. Thank you.
Thank you and your colleagues for your indulgence for us today. Thank you. It's been a long day.
Thank you very much.